I'm an idiot. Hello, my Mindfield Meal Preppers. My name is Em. This is Life's Table. We're gonna knock out a really quick, light, easy lunch. It's going to be a really delicious cream of carrot soup with potatoes and onions and bacon and some delicious seasonings and spices like ginger and curry and our sage, which I'm so excited for. Building off of what we talked about last time with Yerkes Dodson and energy management to help with stress management, I'm going to just leave you all with like a few other really quick rapid fire stress management resilience building techniques, so that as we wrap up this month, I'm not leaving you all high and dry with like, let's talk for a month about stress, but not really set you all up with success. Hopefully you've already picked up a thing or two, but now I'm going to leave you with 3 or 4 more. Without further ado, we tie back our hair if we have to. We'll put on an apron if we got one, and let's get cooking good looking. We've got a lot to learn today at Life's Table. Okay, so we are going to start off today with a fair bit of washing and peeling. We're going to wash and peel our carrots, wash and peel our potato. So I'm going to set these things aside and get the sink going. That also means we get our lovely veggie scrap bag. All right. We bring out our vegetable peeler and our garlic press because we'll need that too, and probably a knife here in a little bit, but I'll start with peeling my potatoes because they're in front of me. Like I said, we talked at length about Yerkes Dodson and energy management to help with stress management last time. And hopefully, I would love to know if you guys have already had opportunities to practice some of the techniques that we've been discussing. And I would love to hear perhaps like how they're going. I would love to hear what's working, and more importantly, I think, or equally important, I'd love to know what's not working, because A, we all kind of process and manage and handle stress differently, but B, maybe there's something going on that I tried it this way, but in this environment or with this person, it's not enough, it's not working, it's not cutting. So maybe in a lower stress environment, this would be helpful, but sometimes I just can't with some people, with some tasks, with some environments, with some whatever. And I need more than what basic stress management has taught me so far, which is fine. But yeah, I would love to know A, what is working, even just a little bit, and B, what is not working as well. While we do that, I'm going to talk to you all a little bit more about stress resilience techniques, the first one being mindfulness. Now, before you immediately write me off as like hippie, peace-loving flower child, which I am, that mindfulness is only for the gurus in India who are up on the mountain practicing yoga all day and so on and so forth. Whatever you think of when you think of like meditation, we tend to lump mindfulness and meditation into the same category, which is fine. They are very, very similar. But there are some key differences that make it worth distinguishing and worth separating the two from each other. Let's go ahead and first dispel some myths about mindfulness. It is for everyone with a mind. So if you have a mind and most times you use it, then mindfulness is something that you can practice. And it's really, really beneficial. This is part 2 of like dispelling myths. The goal of mindfulness is not to have empty head, clear slate sort of thoughts. That's not the point of mindfulness. And in fact, that almost goes against what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is maintaining focus in the present moment to the best of your abilities. Ooh, that's a nasty looking carrot. We're going to take a quick time out because something happened in a video last week. I was trying to make a salad vinaigrette and I smelled the Dijon mustard. I smelled the Dijon, and that mustard had a pull date of like 3 months ago. but I kept it around. And I used it in a video the week prior, and it was fine in the video the week prior. I do adhere to expiration dates. I do pay attention to them. They do matter to me, but I don't let numbers on a jar tell me when my food has spoiled. A, because the numbers on the jar sometimes lie and food spoils sooner, and then you run into issues like I did the other morning where I pour spoiled milk into my coffee and whoop-de-doo. It happens all the time. But just as common, just as frequent, is I will see a pull date that is concerning because it has already passed and it has perhaps well passed. But if you smell the food, it smells fine. If you give like a little pinky taste of the food, it tastes fine. In the same way that we, throughout this journey together, are going to learn and work on effective communication skills, food is very effective at communicating when it has spoiled, even in part, okay? It doesn't deceive. It doesn't have a need to deceive. Food very, very clearly, most times, effectively communicates, I'm not good anymore. In the same way that our spices also have expiration dates. They are things to be noticed. I'm not telling you to ignore the dates. But for me, the pull date, it's the date that I need to start sniff checking, taste testing before I start cooking with it. And food will tell you loud and clear, I'm not good. So I'm gonna throw this away. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and slice these up into like cube type of pieces. I'll do the potato first, and then I'll just make sure that everything else kind of coincides and lines up with the potato. So yeah, cube pieces about this big. Back to mindfulness. It is not the act of cleaning the slate and having a blank mind and thinking about nothing for as long as you can think about nothing for. It's actually quite the opposite of putting yourself where your feet are. Present moment thoughts, which are so much easier said than done. The amount of times that our minds are not in the present moment. They are wandering, they are zoning out, they are all over the road. I'm gonna begin heating it on medium heat, and I'm gonna start by melting the butter as well. We want 1 to 2 tablespoons. And while that melts and heats, I'm gonna cut my carrots to around the same size. So, mindfulness. It is so much easier said than done, because when I'm stressed out, a lot of times what I'm doing is mind is racing a mile a minute. I am barely paying attention to the things that are being said or done around me. I'm so much in my thoughts, in my head, not even on the same planet. And this is not just for stressful situations. I have an overactive imagination just as is. I was a little space cadet as a kid. So mindfulness for sure is something that I've really had to practice and I'm still not very good at. And I'll admit it, kind of like resiliency. It's a constant practicing to keep your thoughts from just taking off. And I know you know what I'm talking about. We are all guilty of it, but there are ways to practice mindfulness. And again, like, there's an abundance of videos on the internet right now, like on YouTube. If you just search mindfulness videos, it'll talk you through different ways. Please be careful when you're adding this into hot butter. I mean, most of the practices take less than 2-3 minutes. And they say it takes less than 7 minutes a day for a good mindfulness practice to be really beneficial and to have long-term lasting positive effects and impacts. Nice big onion chunks because they're going to soften up very, very quickly. I think I'm going to cut up and add my turkey bacon as well.
Oh my god, hey, me again. You're about to watch me make another critical error. I'm 2 for 2 in these videos right now, and I'm hoping that this is not a trend that we start. Please do not add your bacon to this soup yet. Put it in after you finish blending all of the veggies, because if you are like me and the idea of blended bacon sounds disgusting, you're going to have to pick out a lot of bacon pieces if you add them right now. Wait until the soup is finished cooking, blend it up, and then add the bacon in, reheat it with the spices and the creams that you'll see me add towards the end. It will be delicious and you won't have blended bacon. Thank you for taking care of you today. This should be it. Okay, bye.
Again, smells like bacon, still smells good, so I trust it. If you have bacon left over, by all means bring it in. Other things that would be delicious with this, if you have any more of the pork left over, you could cook up the pork and cube up the pork a little bit. Okay, we slice up our bacon. Practicing mindfulness, and we will do it. But it is just the act of trying to the best of our abilities to remain in the present moment. It is intentionally paying attention to what is going on right now. So if I were to practice this right now as an example, one that I really like to do in the kitchen is just pay attention to my senses. What am I smelling? Right now I'm smelling the bacon. It smells really good. I'm hearing the sizzle of my pot cooking the vegetables. I'm feeling my feet on my cold tile floor. I feel the knife in my hand. I see Amy just praying that I drop one of these pieces. I see the ingredients left in front of me that I still have to incorporate and use, which of course we'll get to. I'm beginning to smell the onion that's cooking up. I'm hearing the sound of the chopping on my cutting board. Just being in the kitchen, listening to the highway sounds outside, which admittedly are kind of distracting. They're taking me out of the present moment of me being in my kitchen. But as soon as I acknowledge the fact that I hear it and then I let it go, it helps to recenter me and refocus me into the task at hand, the task that I'm completing. I am going to wash my hands. It's coming together. I'm going to give this a stir. This one. We'll do two cloves. If you clean as you cook, it helps a lot. All right, and I'm going to toss these in whole because what I will be doing next, after this finishes cooking and coming together beautifully, is I'm going to be throwing it into a food processor or an immersion blender or just a regular blender. If you don't have one of those, this is going to be a delicious soup. You're not going to regret it at all. But maybe cut up your garlic just a little more finely so that you don't bite into like a whole garlic clove in the future. I am going to now do 2 bouillon cubes. Actually, you know what? On the subject of things in my fridge that I'm trying to get rid of, I think I've got bouillon that expires before this. There we go. If it's too difficult to open a glass jar, a quick trick is if you run it under hot water, the air inside expands and it's a lot easier to get it loose. At least I think that's how that science works. And then I want like 2 cups of water. It's just about covering everything. I'm also going to add a sprinkling of ginger, half a teaspoon, but I like the ginger flavor, so I might do a little more. Boop. Okay, and I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes. But yeah, okay, so it is mindfulness. Wow, we're still only on stress management technique number 1. Clearly I'm not being very mindful right now. But it is intentionally paying attention to the present moment without judgment as well. And that, for me, is like arguably the hardest part of it. Because it's really, really easy, especially like at work, for example. Your supervisor comes up to you and says something along the lines of, hey, I hate to do this to you, but we've got this last minute tasker just came down the line and I need you to help us out with it. The deadline is by noon tomorrow. Immediately, my brain is going, yeah, this wasn't a last minute tasker. You just weren't organized enough to tell me, right? Immediate judgment. And it's so quick and it's so easy to jump to those conclusions, at least for me. And it really takes an act of overriding it and saying, whoa, calm down. No. What else could it be? Perhaps someone else dropped the ball. It is a last minute tasker for the supervisor, and they're just doing their job and passing it along as quickly as they possibly could, but they didn't get it until 15 minutes ago. Whatever it happens to be, right? There are so many other alternatives to what my personal mind immediately jumps to. And more often than not, it's one of those alternatives. It's not, this person's out to get me, this person is disorganized, this person is the villain. In doing that, what it allows you to do is react faster to stressful situations. You notice earlier that something is stressing you out and what the impacts and the consequences might be of being in this stressful situation. And because you are doing that earlier intervention, you have more of the logical thinking brain still able to kick in and say, okay, let's navigate this, let's strategize, let's come up with solutions, let's come up with alternatives. They're probably not the villain. Let's cope. Let's react effectively and productively. Mindfulness, by staying in the present moment and not just shooing off to 5 steps ahead or to wherever it is that your mind goes, it really, really does help to then navigate the stressful situation. I keep eyeing my crushed red pepper and thinking that I maybe want to add a little spice to this. I want a little heat. Just a healthy little sprinkle. Wonderful. Okay. Moving on to the next one. This is a callback to last month. Goal setting. And specifically those SMART goals that we talked about last month with regards to personal finances and budgeting and money and saving and investing for the future or paying down debt or whatever it happens to be. You can use SMART goals for literally every other part of your life. It doesn't just have to be personal finance goals that need to be SMART. Any goal that you have in the future should be SMART. We're coming up towards the end of the year, which means that we're getting kind of into New Year's resolutions time. We're starting to think about what we want this next year to look like for us. Practice it. Don't just say, I'm going to get in shape. Set specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, time-bound goals. I'm going to beat this horse to death, if I haven't already done so. I am going to lose 2 pounds per month over the course of the next year. So I'm going to lose 24 pounds next year. I'm going to do this by sticking to portion control and portion sizing, reading labels, exercising more. And by exercising more, I'm currently hurt, so we're going to go with a little bit loosey-goosey terms, but I hope to be working out 5 times a week next year to help me with these I'm getting in shape, I'm losing weight goals. Is it action-oriented? Yes. Is it realistic to lose 24 pounds in 1 year? Yeah. Is it measurable? Yeah, I'm going to be weighing myself on the scale, and I'm going to be feeling how my clothes fit. And then time bound by the end of the year. Cool. SMART goals. Specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, time bound. By setting those goals for yourself, especially with regards to the things that are stressing you out, it becomes manageable because it becomes tangible. It's a lot harder for me to have a solution to the things that are stressing me out when they're just thoughts in my head that weigh on me. When they're just these like upcoming deadlines that are floating out there and my only goal is work towards them or achieve them or cross something off the list that has something to do with one of them. It's not as beneficial, it's not as effective, it's not as productive, and therefore it causes more stress than having goals. That is goal setting. Again, this is not the last time that we're going to be talking about it. Especially with the new year coming up, we're going to be talking a lot about New Year's resolutions, why they don't work, and how to get them to work. But that's certainly one of the ways. Get ready. It's coming back. The next thing that I want to talk about for stress resilience techniques, stress management, is going to be that positive self-talk. I don't know about you all, but I've got a voice in my head that is my own worst enemy. For example, at my workplace right now, we are coming up on annual performance evaluation times. It's based off of how well you did last year. And more importantly, it's based off of how your supervisor thinks you did last year and how well you argue your case for whatever it is you say that you are worth. And every time that I come up on this time of year, that voice gets so loud of you didn't do enough. You are not worthy of what you are asking for. You do not deserve the higher performance ratings that you're looking at right now. Don't even think about it. It's not even worth trying. Just put yourself as you're meeting expectations because that's what you're doing. And it creates this loop, this negative feedback loop of gross, disgusting, I'm stressed, the voice gets louder, the voice stresses me out, so I'm more stressed, so the voice gets louder, and so on and so forth. It spirals, really. It doesn't just circle, it spirals downward. What if you could train that voice to say the opposite? What if you could either tell that voice to shut up, or you could use that voice to be a voice for good? Just as easily as this voice is saying things like, you're not worth it. What if that voice started saying instead things like, you got this? What if the voice said, no, you are worth it? Ask for the raise. The worst that they'll say is no, right? And usually it's no, and here's what you could be doing to get it. Here's why we're saying no right now, and it's got nothing to do with you. It actually has everything to do with the fiscal year and the budget and blah, blah, blah. No one's getting raises, etc., whatever it happens to be, right? But the worst that they'll say is no, so why not try? What if you could retrain that voice? What if you told that voice to shut up the way that that voice tells you to shut up? I would love to hear you guys in the comments. What are some things that you say to yourself? Is it nice? Is it mean? And the next time that it's mean, just be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You have as much information as I do. How are you somehow able to make judgment calls about what my supervisor's going to say in our meeting 15 minutes from now? They haven't even told us what the meeting topic's about yet. And you already know that, like, I'm going to get yelled at? Shut up. Okay? Retrain that voice, or just stop listening to it and replace it with a new voice that is positive, that is what you would want to have be in you, be a part of you for the rest of your existence. Retrain it. To take that one step further, let's go back to the example of the boss 15 minutes from now. I just know they're going to yell at me and embarrass me in front of my coworkers. Visualization. Whatever the thing is that's stressing you out, be it the conversation that you have to have with the loved one, be it the presentation that you have to do at work, be it grocery shopping, which just kind of sucks for a lot of people and it gives a lot of people anxiety. Whatever it is that's stressing you out, visualize yourself down to the steps that I'm going to take. I am going to walk to the grocery store. It's going to take this route. It's going to take about 10 minutes to get there. I'm going to grab a cart. I know that the aisles are organized in this way and in this fashion. I know that I have my list on my phone and I'm not going to deviate from it, despite how tempting those sweet treats are. Oh my gosh. I have my list. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to navigate this path in the grocery store. I'm going to stop in these aisles. I'm going to get these things. I'm going to go to the front of the store and assess whether or not it's faster to do self-checkout or cashier checkout, check out, put my cart back, and I begin my walk home. Once I have visualized that path, let's Then visualize the possible detours, the possible obstacles. The first one being they don't have carts. For some reason, all of the carts have been taken. No worries. If that's the case, I'll grab a basket. I use reusable shopping bags because they give me a discount and then I don't have to get charged for bags as well. I live in one of those areas that they'll charge you for bags. If there's no cart and there's no basket, well, good news is I've literally brought my own. That's why I have reusable shopping bags, is to carry my stuff home. So let me carry my ingredients. Cool. That's one less thing we got to stress about, okay? Next thing, they happen to not have my brand of whatever, or they're totally out of this ingredient. Okay. I have faith enough in my ability to cook that I can look for alternatives. Is it going to taste like my ingredient? No, probably not, but it's pretty close, and at the end of the day, it's going in with a bunch of other ingredients, and you probably won't notice. So, they don't have it. Awesome. They're completely out of it, which does happen. Well, we have our handy dandy phones here, and our handy dandy phones are very handy dandy at finding substitutes or swaps online. There are so many people who have gone grocery shopping before you and not found ingredients that they've needed, and helped people like me and inexperienced cooks know, all right, this is going to taste not the same, but similar, so you're going to be all right. I'm going to give this a quick stir just because I'm here. Oh, this is coming together. I'm an idiot. Oh, hello. We just had the realization. Oh, gosh. Sometimes I left my brain. See? I'm not an idiot. Sometimes I just make mistakes. Shut up. I just realized that I'm going to put the soup into a food processor, and I have a bunch of bacon in there that I really don't want to blend in food process because that sounds disgusting. So what are we going to do? We're going to pick our little bacon out of there. It happens. Again, I'm new. I'm an amateur. Rookie mistake. It'll probably happen again, but whatever. We live and we learn. Moving on, right? Visualizing the steps that I'm going to take and then seeing success in those visualizations. When I do this presentation, I will have prepared. I will have my notes ready. I can anticipate the questions that are going to be asked of me. I'm going to rehearse it with my coworkers so that they can practice asking those questions and I can practice answering them, and they can throw me a curveball or two so I can then prepare for future curveballs. I see myself doing a good job. And then last but not least, the Yerkes-Dodson model, which we talked about at length. If I'm too stressed, doing things to lower my stress levels to get me back down to optimum energy. If I'm not stressed enough, or if I'm not exerting enough energy on this end, then I can ramp up my stress to a healthy amount to get me back into that window. Again, we already talked about it a lot. So with that, what we are going to do, I've got about 8 minutes left on my timer. You do not want to put this into the food processor, the blender right now. A, because there might be bacon in it if you made that mistake and you followed me down that path, and I'm so sorry if you did. But B, a lot of our food processors, a lot of our blenders are not heat resistant to the heat that this currently is at. This is going to go off in about 8 minutes, like I said. I'm going to let it cool for like 15 minutes or so before I bring out the food processor and blend it all up. Now, as is, it's delicious. But if you wanted to add a little sprinkling of curry powder, you can. Little sprinkling of sage, you absolutely can. Sage and curry powder are going to be great. If you have the crushed red pepper and you wanted to make it a little spicy, make it a little spicy. Salt and pepper to taste, adjust as you would like. Thyme would go great in this too. We don't necessarily want to blend all of that together, so we blend first, return it to the pot, and then add 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream, about as much curry and sage and thyme as you did ginger. And then taste it, because the chicken bouillon has salt in it. It may not need salt. Taste it to see if you need black pepper, and then you're good to go. You can re-add the bacon back in as well. I'll go ahead and leave the ingredients or the instructions up here just so that you can follow along. I think that concludes everything that I wanted to talk about today. It's just a lot of standing and talking and hanging out, which is cool. I love seeing you. But I'm gonna go and clean my kitchen and move on to the next part of my day. So with that, tell that negative voice in your head to shut up. Thank you for taking care of you today. Thank you for joining me. I can't wait to hear all of the things that are going well and are working for you, these techniques that you're trying out, what's not working, what you might need a little more help on, what do you wish I would spend a little more time on, what you wish I would just move on from already, good God. What topics you would like to have covered perhaps in the future. But yeah, this concludes my time. Thank you all for yours. Thank you for taking care of you today. I do sincerely hope that you enjoy. Bon appetit. So it turns out that after cooking this delicious smelling meal, I was still really, really full last night from having eaten dinner. So we're gonna try it for the first time right now, the day after. Wow, there are so many flavors in there. That is incredibly good. I'm very, very pleased with that. I hope that you all are too. Thanks for taking care of you today. Bon appetit. I hope you enjoy. See you in the next one.